Hey guys, SuperHorrorBro Mike here, and in today's Bendy and the Ink Machine video, we take a look at the mysterious ink people known only as the Lost Ones, who show up during Bendy Chapter 4. These creepy looking ink men don't appear hostile towards Henry, in fact quite the opposite. They seem timid and afraid, desperate to escape their inky prison.
I just want to go home. When do we go home? When do we go home?
So let's see if we can work out who the Lost Ones are, and the reason why they exist this way. But before we jump into this video, remember to subscribe and hit that bell to be notified every time a new video drops. Let's begin with the basics by taking a look at the appearance of the Lost Ones. These inky residents are fairly tall in appearance, resembling the height of an adult man or woman. They seem thin, almost skeletal in design, with only a thick layer of ink giving them any kind of body mass whatsoever. Their eyes glow a faint red colour, suggesting there is something supernatural at play here. In terms of numbers, we encounter around 50 Lost Ones throughout Bendy Chapter 4, and this is the one and only chapter so far that they have appeared in. So, who are they? Well, I believe there are three possible options here, and we will briefly look into each of them. Either they are former workers at the studio, visitors who tried out the amusement park currently under construction, or resurrected souls brought back to life via the power of the ink machine. All of these ideas have merit and evidence to back them up, so let's begin by looking at the worker theory. There would have been many workers throughout the studio, from artists, to musicians, to technicians, and all of these people had items which represented them. Items then used in the ritual that caused all hell to break loose at the studio. It is my theory people were rebirthed via the mysterious ink found around the studio after the ink machine was activated in this way, and this created characters such as Boris, Alice Angel, and Bendy himself from various workers in different job roles. However, it is likely that before Joey Drew and his team of workers directly involved with the construction and operation of the ink machine managed to create perfect forms of these beloved cartoon characters, there would have been a lot of trial and error born out of experimentation. As with any scientific procedure, nothing works right first time. Joey would likely have tested his machine many times, and as we know from Wally Frank's audio log, he frequently asked his workers to donate personal items.
Also, get this. Joey had each one of us donate something from our workstation. We put them on these little pedestals in the break room.
These items would have helped recreate a person via the ink. But the early stages of this rebirth likely didn't go according to plan, and so instead of creating fully formed cartoon characters such as Boris, we instead would have seen inky abominations such as the Lost Ones, and worse still, the Searchers, inky creations made from workers who resemble the human form but are a far cry from the refined designs found within the Boris clones. We even have evidence the workers were directly involved in this rebirth process, as we hear Alice Angel, most likely a twisted form of voice actress Susie Campbell, saying this.
First time I was born from its inky womb, I was a wiggling, pulsing, shapeless slug.
So these Lost Ones were potentially the early test subjects being reborn in a way similar to that referenced by Alice, before Joey and his team knew exactly what they were doing with the ink machine itself. After all, we know there was more than one ink machine. Looking at the plans, we even see the current model is version 2. A really twisted concept is the idea these Lost Ones were in fact workers from the research and development department who became the initial test subjects against their will. Joey Drew may not have wanted the inhumane secrets being developed beneath his animation studio getting out into the world, so maybe he silenced anyone working on the project, and these Lost Ones are the team of workers involved in designing and creating the ink machine in the R&D department. I do have one final thought that sort of proves this theory true. The Lost One found within Chapter 4 who speaks.
He's been crying. He always finds me. Oh no. I just want to go home.
Is voiced by the same actor who voices Bertram Piedmont, an employee of Joey Drew who we know had a relationship ending on bad terms.
Oh, Mr. Drew, for all your talk of dreams, You are the true architect behind so many nightmares.
Next, let's move on to the theory these inky creatures are actually visitors of the studio. We know Joey Drew had grand plans, and one of these was to have Bertram Piedmont build him a colossal wonder in the form of amusement park, Bendyland.
I'll build you a park bigger than anything you could ever possibly conceive.
Much like Walt Disney, it seems like Joey Drew was looking to expand his Bendy franchise beyond simple cartoons and into the realm of merchandise and attractions. He liked to dream big. The ink machine may have even been a way to create living mascots for the park. So potentially, Joey may have lured in visitors with the promise of testing out his new theme park, only to imprison them beneath the studio and hold them captive until he was ready to use them as the early test subjects for his trial ritual and ink machine tests. We do hear Sammy Lawrence say,
"Let us begin. The ritual must be completed."
So it sounds like certain people born from the ink machine were birthed out of a ritual that never completed, and so never achieved their proper form. Perhaps a form Joey promised them, as we saw he was trying to sell people on fake dreams.
I believe there's something special in all of us. Okay, let's stop right there. I can only do so many takes of this trash a day.
The idea of visitors coming to try out Bendyland and then becoming imprisoned by Joey Drew before being turned into ink people certainly has its parallels with a particular Disney film. Remember, this actually happens to the children in the Disney film Pinocchio. They visit Pleasure Island, a secret island amusement park, but in doing so are turned into donkeys and then imprisoned by the park owners. Is the Meatly trying to create a twisted version of this Disney classic within the story of Bendy and the Ink Machine? Possibly. It seems less likely than the worker theory to be sure, but I felt it was worth exploring nonetheless. The final theory I want to look into today centers around the notion that these lost souls were not born from the living, but rather from the dead. We've seen so many signs around the studio pointing towards rituals resurrecting the dead. In fact, I did an entire video about this concept last year. From coffins to candles and those strange pentagrams on the floors and walls, it seems like some kind of witchcraft was taking place, witchcraft involving the dead. There was even a cartoon titled Tombstone Picnic, featuring a skeleton brought to life, likely symbolising the creepy events going on behind the scenes at Joey Drew Studios. So maybe the lost ones were the early results of corpses dug up, processed through the ink machine, and then resurrected as inky humanoids. Scared and confused after being resurrected through the ink machine and existing without any real purpose. Then, once Joey had perfected the process, he moved on from resurrecting the dead and began using his workers instead. Out of the three theories we've just gone over, I believe the worker theory holds the most merit, but we shouldn't discount the other two either, as they still have evidence to support them. We know the ink can change the living, as heard in this audio log found within Chapter 4. But we also suspect something was happening with previously dead bodies around the studio, unless these coffins were intended for the workers themselves. Either way, I hope this video has helped explain the reasons why these lost ones exist. Presumably, they were test subjects and the failures of Joey Drew's ink machine in its early stages, now waiting to be set free. I hope you also found my theories about who these strange creatures may be enlightening to. Whether they be workers, visitors to the studio, or corpses dug up by Joey Drew and reanimated as part of his early experimentation, we have plenty to work with here now. I would certainly be interested in exploring the lost ones more in a future video. But for now, I think that's enough. And that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. This has been a video all about the lost ones in Bendy and the Ink Machine, trying my best to explain who I believe they are and my theories behind them. And if you have enjoyed this video, guys, remember to give it a like, leave me a little comment down below, and of course subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this one, and I'll see you on the next one.